Good morning, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton. I have a random cord connected to my headphones, and that was odd to feel. You know, like whenever you're doing stuff and you don't expect to feel something there and it just feels there, it kind of throws you for a loop. That's what happened. That's how I started the show today. Random cord just on my headphones I did not know was there. If it was a snake, I'd be dead. It's that simple. Tune in. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We are live on Facebook. We are live on X. We are on YouTube. And, of course, on Roku via the National Streaming Sports app. It's been a fantastic week. I want to give a big thank you to the guests that I've had earlier this week. Chris Byrne on Monday. He is the toy guy. If you didn't get a chance to look at that interview, I've got it up on social media now. Chris Byrne, the toy guy, giving you all the guides you need to get toys for those young people in your life. I've got two young kids. I know I'm an old man with a lot of white in my beard, but I do have two young kids, and it's all about trying to find the right toys for them, what toys they want, what are the main things out there that they want. And obviously those that have a little older kids, I'm in that weird purgatory right now of I have a 12-year-old and I don't know what to get him because I feel like whatever I get him is just going to be lame in his eyes. Like if I get him clothes because I know he needs clothes, he's going to be like, I have a loser dad. So that's where I am right now. Luckily, I had Chris Byrne on to kind of help walk me through, help navigate me through what would be the best things to buy the kids in my life. And of course, yesterday, my friend Jason Fitz from Yahoo Sports, he and I talking about college football, the college football playoff. Man, it's not broken, but it sure as hell ain't the way it should be. We'll see. If you don't like what the college football is right now, I laid out a plan yesterday, a 25-team college football NCAA tournament style bowl season, which I think would be a ton of fun. Go check that out. The podcast is now up and running wherever you get your podcasts, up on Apple and Spotify, wherever it is you get your podcast. Check out the podcast. All you got to do is look up Tipton Sports Broadcasting Network, and we will be all over those places. Jesus Christ. I spent 4 minutes almost just doing housekeeping on a bunch of that stuff as well. Jessica Michelle Forzon saying experiences are a good gift too. Memories can never be replaced. 100%. I agree with that. That's why I'm always big about trying to get my kids just any like out of town experience we can do here in El Paso. For those people that don't know, especially those that are watching on Roku, El Paso, Texas is so much further away than the rest of Texas that it's almost insane to really wrap your mind around. Like in the time it would take me to drive to Dallas, I'd be able to go to Phoenix. Like the capital of a whole other state is closer to me. And the time that it would take me to get to Houston, I can already be in California. I could be in Denver by that time. That's how big the state of Texas is. So we always plan a trip during the summertime, even during intersessions. I know a lot of cities out there don't get an intersession period the way that El Paso does. But I'll take those 2 weeks in October or those 2 weeks in March, and we'll go anywhere just to get the hell out of town. This past past October, we went up to Connecticut, went to go visit some of my friends. Jason Fitz, one of the friends up there that I went to go visit. It was a good, fun time going to see New York, doing all those things. So I'm all about, yes, those experiences, those memories, going to places like the Grand Canyon, those things right there. Jessica, I am 100% with you on. Let's get as many memories as we possibly can. Okay. Look at me becoming super dad mode right there, right? That was the most dad that's ever dadded before, much like Jameis Winston. Speaking of being a dad, there's always these moments in life where you are watching something and it's not that you're upset, you're just disappointed. And it's because of sports that you get that level of disappointment the majority of the time. And yesterday, I'm, just perusing channels. Whenever I eat dinner, I'm watching The Big Bang Theory. I try not to watch a bunch of sports. I try not to inundate my family with just nothing but sports, right? So I'm watching The Big Bang Theory, and I'm getting alerts on things. I start watching on my phone, some of the events that are going on right now. And I'm like, you know what? I haven't really seen a lot of Lakers games this year. Let me watch some of these Lakers games. Like let me watch this one that they're playing today against the Miami Heat. Got LeBron going back to Miami. Is that even a thing anymore other than for people in Miami? I don't think so. But, the hype machine is just out there. pumping it up, doing what they got to do. So I'm one of these people that gets, hooked on the reel. They fish me in, and I'm watching this game. And I'm watching an offensive outburst from the Miami Heat. Tyler Hero hitting 7 straight threes, just a thing of beauty on his release. 7 straight threes. And the final score winds up being 134 to 93. 134 to 93 in favor of the Miami Heat over the LA Lakers. A long time ago, whenever I was a kid, 93 points would have been an amazing output. Hell, 134 points probably would have been close to record-breaking, right? This wasn't a game that went to overtime. This is a regulation game, 134 points to 93. You got your ass whooped. End of discussion. There is no fight here, right? And then, you look into the post-game stuff, and me being me, I start looking in, okay, what'd they do the last couple of games? They're 12-10 on the season. That's not too terrible, but they're the LA Lakers. They're led by LeBron James. They're led by Anthony Davis. They've got a ton of talent on this team, right? Cole Connect, like great name for an outside shooter, right? Connect. He's connecting on all these shots. But I'm watching the Lakers, and I'm looking at, their schedule. And then I go back and I watch highlights of the game before where they had just lost to, I want to say it was a Minnesota Timberwolves, but I got to look it up here. And I apologize for that. But they had just lost one of their more recent games as well. And it was against the Minnesota Timberwolves. They lost that game 109 to 80. 109 to 80. So now we're looking at it. We have 2 straight losses with the LA Lakers. A total of 70 points is what they've lost by in these last 2 games. An average of 35 points is what they've lost by in these 2 games. Losing by 29 in one game, losing by 41 in the other. And it's not that I'm not a Lakers fan. I'm a Spurs fan, right? And it's not that I'm upset with the LA Lakers. It's not that I'm, bothered by the LA Lakers or any of that stuff. I'm just disappointed with the LA Lakers. Once again, being like total dad mode, right? Started this whole conversation off with how I'm a dad. The LA Lakers are a disappointing team because they are the LA Lakers, right? Like they are the Dallas Cowboys, but with a little more success. The LA Lakers, to me, have been trying to replicate the type of success that they had in 2020. And they got so lucky in 2020 getting the bubble season, being able to win their championship that way. And they're really trying to break that mindset of, oh, you only won in the bubble. And they're doing everything they can. They're genuflecting to LeBron James, the king, and saying, whatever you want, LeBron, whatever you want, we'll get you these guys. You want Anthony Davis? We'll get you Anthony Davis. You want to get rid of a whole young core of nucleus? We'll get rid of all these young players. We'll get you the coach that you want. He's never coached a game before in his life. He does a podcast with you? Cool. That's all we need for our head coach. He did a podcast with you. Of course he's going to know basketball. Granted, J.J. Redick did play basketball, but you're seeing right now that he does seem overwhelmed. And whenever you look at the LA Lakers and you look at all of their games that they've had recently, as I try to bring this up here and I'm filibustering to try to try to get it brought up. But as you look at the LA Lakers and as you look at all the other teams that are out there, you see that even though the LA Lakers are 12-10 this right now, they're the 9th seed in the West. You don't have faith that this team is going to get better. At least I don't. I don't know if there's Lakers fans out there that are like, oh no, yeah, this team is great. Are you that brainwashed? Are like really legitimately, are you that brainwashed? This team cannot win on the road. They're at the Atlanta Hawks tomorrow. So that might be a win for them because the Atlanta Hawks are just terrible. But you look at the games that they've had over this last stretch. They've lost 6 out of their last 8 games. Lost 6 out of their last 8 games. And 5 of those games have been by more than 20 points. 6 of those games are by double figures. And I actually got that wrong because apparently I'm really bad at math right here. Yeah, they've lost 6 out of their last 8 games. But again, the majority of those games are absolute blowouts. They're being blown out by 20 or more points. And you go over and obviously you want to try to find out what's the reason why we're losing games, what's this, what's that, blah, 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 blah. So they go to LeBron James in the locker room. He's eating fruit out of a cup. And they ask him, LeBron, what's going on? And this is what LeBron had to say.
I mean, I think we should watch it for sure. And just see, when you're individual enough and, and you're trying to rely on everybody else to come before you. I think it starts with the individuals first. All of us have to take accountability. It's great to see it on film. Address it right there and there, and then go from there.
Has there been a necessary level of accountability on the court from guys when mistakes have happened?
I think the level of communication is not as great as it needs to be. So many great teams out here, and you anytime you make a mistake, especially with us, teams are gonna make you pay. And Miami, obviously, like you said, tied a franchise record for threes, made us pay every time. We had horrible communication, and it made us pay.
For somebody who's done everything, you've never been through a couple of games back to back like this. How does this even compute in your mind?
It sucks for sure. It sucks for sure to get your ass whooped like that twice in a row for sure.
It sucks for sure to get your ass whooped that way twice in a row. It sucks for sure. It does. And I know that LeBron ain't happy with it, but they ask him that question, who are you looking at? Where's the on-court accountability? And he goes and he doesn't say, like, it starts with me as a leader of the team, even though he's not the best player on the team anymore, which sounds like sacrilege that LeBron James isn't the best player on the team anymore. It's LeBron's issue. It's LeBron's team. It's LeBron James who should be the one whenever he's asked about accountability saying it starts with me. And obviously all of us have had these situations in either our work life, our personal life, whatever it is, where we try to deflect and just not accept what the reality is, right? LeBron James is a guy calling the shots here. He hired JJ Redick. He's the one who wanted his podcast partner, who had never coached a game before, who was on ESPN just spitting out hot take after hot take. He wanted that guy to be his head coach. And now he has JJ Redick as his head coach. And yesterday in the press conference afterwards, JJ Redick is asked by reporters about his thoughts on everything that's going on with the LA Lakers. And this is what he had to say.
There has to be some ownership. And I think when a group is not performing well, which happens, and it happens to bad teams, it happens to good teams, it happens to great teams, you can splinter, and it's easy to not want the ownership, particularly when it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed, we're all embarrassed. It's not a game that I thought we had the right fight, the right professionalism. Not sure what was lost in translation. There has to be some ownership on the court, and I'll take all the ownership in the world. This is my team, and I lead it, and I'm embarrassed, but I can't physically get us organized. I can't physically be into the basketball. I can't physically talk and call out reds and physically call out coverages. It's, I'm not, and by the way, I'm not blaming players. That's not, I own this. I own this, but it needs some ownership on the court as well. There's not a sense from me that we're together right now. And that's what we say in the huddle. Doesn't feel that way. Doesn't feel that way. And we're in a tough stretch. We're all trying to find it.
We're in a tough stretch. We're all trying to find it, right? Like, you even listen to him right there. He's like, there needs to be accountability on the court. There needs to be this and that. I'm not calling out the players. It's all on me. It's all on me as a head coach. I'm not going to call out the players, because if I call out the players, I'm automatically calling out LeBron James. And I'm guilty of it. And I know a lot of the sports pundits out there are guilty of it as well, where the easy thing to say is it's LeBron James's fault. It's all on LeBron James. He's the guy who wanted to hire JJ Redick. He's the guy that decided that his friendships and, wanting to get rid of the young core that the Lakers had in order to get guys like Anthony Davis, who's always hurt. And yes, Anthony Davis is playing halfway decent this year, but he's always hurt. He's not someone that you can rely on a regular basis. It's easy to say it's LeBron James's fault. But the actuality is that it lands on Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka, the owner and the GM of the team. Sorry about that. Because they're the ones that need to take the damn power away from LeBron James and say, look, these are the decisions you want, and it might be good for you at this exact moment. But what's it going to do for the future of this franchise? Look how long it took the Miami Heat to bounce back after LeBron James decimated them of draft picks and then left. Same exact thing with Cleveland, twice. What's it going to be with the LA Lakers, one of the more storied franchises that are out there? Hell, they don't have a first-round draft pick until 2027. We are going to be 3 drafts away from the LA Lakers having a first-round draft pick because of all the capital they gave away in order to get LeBron James. And for me, it's frustrating as a fan of the NBA. Again, you all know I'm not an LA Lakers fan, so it's not like I have any real stake in this team. But as a person that loves the NBA, as a person that loves basketball, you want to see those historic franchises have some monicum of success and not struggle the way that they're struggling, right? The NBA has an image problem right now. People are not watching the NBA. I put it out there on Threads, on X, all over the place. I said, do you even watch basketball? I didn't have it as a leading question. I just asked, do you watch basketball? Do you care about basketball? And overwhelmingly, it's been, no, I don't care about basketball. I used to. Something happened. I don't watch it anymore. I am not of the belief that it's all about the 3-pointers that are driving people away. There's such a skill and beauty. And me, I love me some basketball. There is a skill and beauty in watching someone like Steph Curry run down the court, launch up that 3, and absolutely drain that thing, right? Does it get tiresome watching a dude that's 7'2" who cannot shoot threes, hoisting up a 3 every damn second? Yeah, I will say that. Yes, it does get annoying watching that aspect of it. But whenever you have players like Victor Wembanyama who can do it at a somewhat decent level, like I know the knock on him is, well, he's only making 32% of his 3-pointers. 32% is pretty damn good in basketball. If you had a baseball player hit 320, he'd be a damn Hall of Famer. But there's so much more that players like Victor Wembanyama bring to the table. The problem with the NBA right now is the movement of players, right? The fact that players are constantly moving teams. I said it as a kid growing up. Like, I love the San Antonio Spurs after Jordan retired the first time. I was a Jordan fan. I wasn't a Bulls fan. I was born on Michael Jordan's birthday in Michael Jordan's rookie year. Of course I'm going to be a Bulls fan. My first name is freaking Michael. Another word was about to come out there. Thankfully, I remembered that I'm on Roku and cannot say some of those words. Or maybe I can. I still don't even know the rules. Maybe one of these days I'll just let it fly. We'll see what happens. I did call the Dallas Cowboys dog shit the other day and no one said anything. So maybe it's just because no one likes the Dallas Cowboys that I can say words like that. But the fact of the matter is that it's not necessarily a stylistic thing with the NBA, because I promise people out there, the issue people had last year with the All-Star game, and I totally get it, is it's 210 to 201 as the final, right? It's just points after points after points. But if that game ended 95 to 94, nobody would have watched that damn game. Nobody wants to watch defense. It's the same thing as Adrian Zamudio tunes into the show. Good morning, Adrian. It's the same thing that I've said over the last couple of years, really. We all want to see Cinderella succeed in the first couple of rounds of the NCAA tournament, but we damn sure don't want to see Cinderella past midnight in the championship game. She better be in that pumpkin on her way home. Like, she needs to be gone. That's what the NBA's problem is. You have a ton of people out here with these huge contracts who just do not care about the game. Zion Williamson's, who just do not care about the game, but are getting hyped up so much by the hype machine that is ESPN. ESPN doing their job, right? They need to show the broadcast. But when you look at the product, you compare the product of the NBA to the NFL. Are there people out there clamoring right now that we need less points in the NFL? Whenever the Chiefs and the Rams had a Monday Night Football game where for the first time in NFL history, a team scored 50 points and lost, were people saying, you know what? That game would have been better if it was 10-3. I would have just, in my veins, loved that game. Hell, I watched the Cowboys-Giants game the other day that ended 27-20, and I thought it was one of the more boring games I'd seen in my life because it just wasn't enough excitement. The NBA gives you excitement in droves, right? Like all the points that we want to see scored. If you're out there telling me, Tip, I want to watch defense, the hell you do. Defense in the NBA is the same thing as Cinderella being in the NCAA tournament. You might want it here or there. You might want one of those NBA games that ends, 95 to 96 or whatever. But I assure you right now, if I were to put on a video of the 2005 San Antonio Spurs beating the 2005 Detroit Pistons 87-82, you would turn that damn thing off in a heartbeat. It's not a scoring problem that the NBA has. It's the player movement problem that the NBA has. It's so hard for players or for fans to start rooting for players. It's this whole, I don't want to say player empowerment because it makes it seem like it's bad, but it's the issue of we've given, or owners really have given the NBA players too much of a leeway, where you have a ton of people who go to a game. I mentioned it yesterday. You go to a game, a San Antonio Spurs game, and you want to watch your team. And what do you get after you spend all your hard-earned money? If you're in my case, you drive out there because you had such a small child that you didn't want him to get on a plane at the time. You take an 8.5 to 9 hour drive to San Antonio, get a hotel room, spent X amount of money on those tickets, and I don't get bad tickets, so I obviously spend way too much on those things. Maybe I need to get a sponsorship of like Game Time or something like that. But we'll look into that. But you spend all this money just to go out there and not watch the stars. And it gets frustrating for NBA fans because you'll have these players who say, oh, I can't play a back-to-back. And a lot of us grew up with these people like Jordan playing basketball 82 games a year. And let's just say, okay, that's Michael Jordan being just a sociopathic, competitive monster, right? That's what his soul feeds on, just eating the souls of other people that he's competing against. So let's take Michael Jordan out of that. Ben Wallace, who was on those 04 Detroit Pistons teams I'm talking about with defense being the thing, Ben Wallace fractured his foot in the 2002 season for the Orlando Magic, who had nothing going their way. I guess it was the 2000 season. The Orlando Magic, who had nothing going their way, fractured his foot and played all the games that year. He would be in a walking boot 10 minutes before game time, take the walking boot off, put on his damn shoes, go out there and play 40 minutes a game, and then get back into the damn walking boot with a broken foot. all old NBA, and like I feel like I'm already the get off my lawn guy. I'm 40. And how did I become the get off my lawn guy? All those old NBA players are surrounded with stories like that. We don't even have to go super old. We can go with, Kobe Bryant, right? Kobe Bryant was once again one of those competitive monsters. Would have never missed it. He tore an Achilles tendon, limped out to the free throw line, drained 2 free throws, and then walked back knowing that he was going to have to get season-ending surgery. That, once again, the type of competitive monster Kobe Bryant was, because he was hoping that maybe, just maybe, there would be some sort of shot he can take to get back out there and finish the game. You don't have that anymore. And the guy who's leading the NBA, the guy who's been the face of the NBA since at least 2009, and LeBron James, has come up again with excuse after excuse after excuse, not having any accountability for himself. And I know I said earlier that it's not a LeBron James problem what's happening with the LA Lakers. It's not a him problem. The Lakers are bad because they did the moves LeBron wanted them to do. They didn't have to do those moves. They did it to placate to him. The image problem that the NBA has is simply because of LeBron James. It's simply because he's the guy who wanted to have the big spectacle of, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach. And then the San Antonio Spurs beat me so bad, I'm going to go back to Cleveland. And now that I've won in Cleveland, I'm better than Michael Jordan. I invoke the name of the GOAT, and now all of a sudden, all the hate is going to rain down upon me. Players like Kevin Durant, who stay on X, and there's nothing wrong if that's your life, dude. You want to be on X and trolling people, fine. But whenever the smoke comes back your way, you can't sit there and start getting super defensive about it. That's the thing that we have with the NBA. It's almost like watching a ton of kids who have zero supervision, despite the fact that a lot of these guys are 40 damn years old. LeBron James is going to turn 40 at the end of this month. What he's doing on the NBA court at his age, at still being one of the top 20 to 25 players in the NBA, is downright amazing. But it's all overshadowed because of the decisions that he made to put people in power with the LA Lakers who don't deserve to be in power with the LA Lakers. Oof. Damn, I feel like once again, like I'm the old get off my lawn guy. But that's the case with the LA Lakers, man. Like, again, I'm a Spurs fan. I don't necessarily care about the LA Lakers, but I know basketball's better whenever the Lakers are a good team. And watching them get blown out by an average of 35 points a game the last 2 games, losing 6 out of their last 8 games, 5 of those by more than double digits, it's just, you can tell they got fat. That 12-10 record, they got fat early on. Yeah, they beat my San Antonio Spurs a couple of weeks ago. The Spurs are going to lose a lot of dumb games because they're such a young team. But this LA Lakers team is just laden with veterans and all-stars. And we're watching them in real time just not live up to the expectation. We're watching a coach that they have not be able to live up to his end of the deal. And I think that, to me, is what makes it so damn frustrating watching these LA Lakers, knowing that they could and probably should be better, but they're just not going to be. Ooh, okay, Wusa, get back into it. We'll be okay. Everything will be all right. I'll only cry a little bit during the break right now. All right, y'all, we're going to take a quick break. Whenever we come back here on the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton, we're heading back to the NFL. We got games happening today. The Detroit Lions hosting the Green Bay Packers, 11-1 versus 9-3. What should we expect in this game on Thursday Night Football? And, of course, we're going to go over some different playoff scenarios that are out there. What teams legitimately have a shot? Not the Dallas Cowboys, not the Cincinnati Bengals. How is that a Monday Night Football game? That's another gripe of mine. We'll worry about that one coming up in just a little bit. But whenever we come back, those are the topics we're going to talk about. We're going back to the NFL after this short break.
Hello, Bernie Olivas again, Executive Director of the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, giving you an update as to who's going to play on the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl on December the 31st at high noon at the Sun Bowl Stadium. Well, this is week 12, and we still have a plethora of teams that could possibly be in the Sun Bowl, all of them very good. From the Pac-12, we're still looking at Arizona State, Washington, UCLA, USC, and Utah. Any of those teams would do great in El Paso. From the ACC side, we have another bunch of teams that are still possibles, beginning with Syracuse, Louisville, Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, North Carolina. Boy, what any of those matchups will be tremendous for our game again on December 31st. Make sure you get your tickets early. They're going pretty fast. So December 31st, 12 noon, Sun Bowl Stadium. Get your tickets now. Don't get left out.
Hello, I'm Mike Tipton with a message for the ladies. Ladies, the man in your life doesn't know how to tell you this, but his nuts are not happy. Don't worry, you can make them happy by giving them happy nuts this holiday season. Visit www.myhappynuts.com/Mike Tipton and look for the perfect package that fits your man's package. From our Jingle Bells Your Ball Smell gift box that contains a Happy Nuts Comfort Cream and Anti-Chafe Comfort Stick, two of our best sellers, and a special gift your man would love to hang from the tree, to our fresh and clean bundle, our special soaps, and even our patented nut scrubber, MyHappyNuts.com has everything you need to take your man's nuts from being sad to happy this holiday season. Visit MyHappyNuts.com/Mike Tipton today and save up to 40% on the perfect package for your man's package. I didn't even have my microphone on right there. Jesus Christ. That shows you how messed up I am, discombobulated by that commercial. What I was saying is, I have embraced this level of stupidity that I have, and watching that commercial just over and over and over again reminds me how dumb I can possibly be. Go visit our friends over at www.myhappynuts.com/Mike Tipton. They gave me a report. We did have some sales last week. Thank you all so much. Remember, they're going to have some more sales leading up to the holiday season. Great stocking stuffers. Dudes, take care of yourselves. It's that simple. Just come on. Don't be effing gross. Endo discussion. That's all I got to say. Also, we are presented by our friends over at RevAutoCarCare.com. RevAutoCarCare.com. Use promo code Tipton33 to save up to 15% at RevAutoCarCare.com. I mentioned it before we went to the break that we were going to come back. We're going to talk about the NFL. And today we have a game that I think is going to be extremely interesting. Vegas also thinks it's going to be a little interesting as well. For those that don't know, and in Texas, we don't get a lot with gambling because for some reason, gambling just, we can't do. We can't do it. We're Texas, not going to allow you to gamble any of your money, but you can play the lottery. Weird. Whatever. I'm just some guy. What do I know about things and legislation and all that nonsense? The way that it works is the home team is always given an automatic 2 points. So if you see that the home team has a 2-point that they're a 2-point favorite, it basically means that Vegas thinks both these teams are even, right? In today's game between the Lions and the Packers, the Lions are a 3-point favorite. They're 11-1 on the season. The Packers are 9-3 on the season. The game is in Detroit, so it really comes down to Vegas thinking that the Detroit Lions are a single point better than the Green Bay Packers. And I don't believe that at all. I believe that the Detroit Lions are not just a 3-point favorite. They should be around a 6 to 7-point favorite. They are much better, in my opinion at least, and we'll figure this out today, right? They are much better than the Green Bay Packers are. They are much better than a lot of the other teams out there in the NFL right now, minus my number one on the season as of this moment, which is the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, these things are to change. Detroit was my number one team last week. What happened? A little struggle bus against Chicago on Thanksgiving. First game on Thursday, following a later game on Sunday. Never a good recipe for teams to give out their best performance. But now you give them that little mini bye week. Both teams had that little mini bye week, right? They play on Thursday. Now they get to play again this Thursday. They get a little bit of rest. Their normal schedule is going to be in play here. And I just can't see a scenario where this game is that close, where it's a 1-point game. 3-point game, I'm kind of like, iffy on. I think a touchdown, right? Like a 1-score game, I'm 100% with. But to say it's going to be a 1-point game or a 3-point game, according to Vegas, to me is just blasphemous. It's disrespectful to the Detroit Lions. And again, the spread from Vegas is a 3-point spread. Knowing what we know now, that the home team automatically gets 2 points, is already given 2 points, then that means Vegas sees the Lions as a single-point favorite over the Green Bay Packers. I do not see it that way. Jared Goff has been playing just out of his damn mind this year. He has been on a completely different level, completely different stratosphere. That's not taking anything away from Green Bay. I think Green Bay is a fantastic team. They, once again, are in the enviable position of being behind what just happens to be the best team in the NFC, being in the same division with what happens to be the best team in the NFC and debatably the best team in the NFL. I'm remembering what the rankings were the other day. I had Kansas City at 4, Philadelphia at 3, Detroit at 2, and Buffalo at 1. Tommy Cananza put in the comment section the other day that his would have been Buffalo at 1, or rather Kansas City at 1, Detroit at 2, Buffalo at 3, Philadelphia, I guess, at 4, right? Giving a little bit of reluctant love to the Philadelphia Eagles. I cannot see how Green Bay goes into Detroit, knowing they struggled last week against the Chicago Bears, the lowly Chicago Bears, took one of the biggest mental mistakes in the history of the NFL in order to win that game. There's no way that I don't think you get the best possible performance out of the Detroit Lions tonight. I like Green Bay. I like what they've done. I've mentioned it a bunch of times. I didn't think signing Josh Jacobs was going to be a great idea. It's turned out to be a phenomenal idea with them. They are, for a snake bit and quarterback starved, as a lot of teams out there are, the New York Jets being one of them, that they've been for decades, it seems. The Green Bay Packers are equally that lucky. They have found whatever magic elixir it is that they have in Green Bay. Maybe it's all the cheese in Wisconsin, right? All the beer cheese in Wisconsin. Maybe that's what it is that allows these quarterbacks to sit back, learn, and become great quarterbacks. Almost 4 decades worth of great quarterback play in Green Bay out of 3 guys. I like what they're doing. I like them as a team. I just cannot see a scenario where they are that much better, incrementally better than the Detroit Lions. It's just not something that computes in my head. I feel like Detroit's going to win this game. Detroit, I believe, should win by at least a touchdown or more. I don't even know what the over-under is. Let me see what the over-under is. The over-under is 51.5 points. I'm taking the over. I'm taking Detroit to win that game by 3 points, by more than 3 points. If you're a betting person, that's what you want to do. Hammer Detroit to cover the points. Hammer the over for both these teams. I think it's going to be a fun offensive game. This isn't going to be like your normal Thursday night game where you're coming off of a Sunday. This is going to be your Thursday game where you played exactly a week ago. So it's going to be a fun game to watch. You want a place to go? Bovada.lv. Bovada.lv. That's where I go. That's where I do all of my gambling stuff. I don't have an addiction. I can quit anytime. I just, competitive, like Jordan. Tommy Cananzo saying he thinks Green Bay upsets the Detroit Lions tonight. there's a part of me that says, yeah, the sun shines on a dog's ass every now and then. I try not to talk in absolutes. It's one of the things that you're taught in broadcast, right? It's the old adage of never say never. So I will not say that it's absolutely impossible for Green Bay to upset the Detroit Lions. And I think it would be disrespectful to the Green Bay Packers to say that a 9-3 team is so much worse than an 11-1 team. I just feel like both of these teams have something to play for, right? But Detroit has some redemption that they need to play for. The way they played on Thursday, the last Thursday on Thanksgiving, is not the Detroit Lions that we're used to seeing. We have to remember, this is a team that has a plus point differential of 180 points. They have 10 wins on the season. That means they're winning all their games by an average of 18 points. So almost 3 touchdowns, 3 scores is what the Detroit Lions are winning on average by. Green Bay, yes, they have a decent plus minus. I think there's a 78, but it's 102 points worse than that of the Detroit Lions. I'm a big guy on plus minus this late in the season because it tells you exactly who you are. Tommy Cananza says it's about time for a Lions loss. I agree with you there. I believe in good losses, right? I just don't think that the Lions have to win this game. They have to win the rest of their division games just because it's the way that it goes. Just because that's the way that it goes. The game is not in Green Bay. The game is in Detroit. That's why I'm giving the Lions a little bit of an edge. And that's the thing that I would say about Vegas, right? Again, going with the spreads. Detroit's automatically getting 2 points at home. So Vegas is looking at them as a 1-point favorite. If this game was played in Green Bay would be a 1.5 point favorite over the Detroit Lions. And I don't see a scenario where the Lions should be the underdog or push with any team. They're just so much better on offense. My girl Medusa Design saying, I don't know, but the reason why I love football is because it's so unpredictable. Anything can happen in football. That's 100% the case, right? And that's why I say I don't really speak in absolutes. As much as I want to say the Dallas Cowboys are out of the playoff picture, mathematically they are not eliminated right now. There's still that big of a chance. Like, it might be minuscule. Some guys will say it's about 12.5 inches. It might be tiny, but it's getting smaller, right? Like, it's winter, it's getting smaller. That's what's happening with the Dallas Cowboys. There's not really legitimately a scenario where you can say, I trust this team to make it all the way to the playoffs. They need more than just the sun shining on their ass. They need Blue Chew to help them out. I tried to get through that without laughing. Damn it. Got caught up in my own joke. But yeah, the Dallas Cowboys need Blue Chew, something to just help them out. But again, would I be surprised if Detroit lost to the Packers? No. I wouldn't be surprised. Would I expect it? No. Right? It's a game in Detroit that Detroit knows they need to win in order to have a stranglehold on their division. Tommy Cananza saying, don't do that, Mike. Don't give people hope about this Dallas Cowboys team. I'm not. I'm not. Tommy, I apologize. I am not trying to give anybody hope about this Dallas Cowboys team. I said it the other day. They did the most effed up thing that they possibly could have done, which is they gave me hope because I needed the window to be closed. I needed that 0.2% chance to go down to 0.00000, infinite, right? Instead, they win the last 2 games, and that 0.2% chance has now crept its way up to a 12% chance. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, y'all couldn't just lose? Because now, me being me, Mr. Optimism, which I know is a weird thing for a lot of people to hear from me being me, Mr. Optimism, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, the Jim Carrey and Dumb and Dumber thing. So you're saying there's a chance. And as long as there's a heartbeat, I'm saying there's a chance. Augustine Pimentel saying the Dallas Cowboys don't have a chance in hell. Mathematically, they still do. Mathematically, they're still there. I hate that I love this team. That shirt's going to be coming out soon. I hate that I love this team, but it's what they did. They won 2 games that they needed to lose. The shot's about yay big. 12 and a half inches according to Augustine. It's about yay big. But there's just no realistic reason why I should be like, you know what, Dallas Cowboys? Let's do this. I will once again be hate watching every game over the next couple of weeks, hating them even more, hating that I love them even more, because if they win this game on Monday Night Football, their chances increase from 12% to 18%. If they beat the Carolina Panthers, their chances increase from 18% to 30%. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, you SOBs are really going to start the season that damn badly and force me to traffic in hope. As if I was some sort of drug trafficker. Now what I'm doing is trafficking in hope because the Dallas Cowboys have done that to me. You couldn't have just lost to Washington. That loss to Washington would have been it. Nail in the coffin. Done. Instead, they beat Washington. And if they beat Washington again and they finish the season with the same record, the Cowboys have the tiebreaker. Which means they would limp into the playoffs, a 3-legged dog entering into a greyhound race. Maybe the Dallas oh man, I'm a jerk. Jesus. You know how you like, I don't know if this happens to other people out there, but like I think things as I'm about to say something and I just instantly like regret what it is I'm going to say because it's not backstory on this. I had a coworker at a radio group that I worked at in El Paso who had 2 dogs, and they were very beautiful dogs, but they had amputations of all 4 limbs. So they would just kind of like flop on the floor and like run around that way, like run around as best they can that way. But they were gorgeous little dogs, and they were so happy. And all I could think of whenever I said they'll be the 3-legged dog in a greyhound race was those 2 beautiful little puppies with their little itty bitty, shoulders and hips being all they have, running a greyhound race. Because I am that kind of guy. That's how visual I am. And that to me would be the Dallas Cowboys. The dog with no legs on the court or on the field, just flopping around as fast as it possibly can. I'm sorry, dude. I shouldn't have called out your dogs that way. It was just some visual that came into my mind. I'm an asshole. I know it. I apologize. Probably shouldn't have said that on Roku with National Streaming Sports, but you know what? I own it. I am who I am. Tommy Carranza laughing at that one. Medusa Design saying, "Oh my God, Tip." Trust me, guys. There's times I wish I wasn't this way. I wish I wasn't that visual, and I wish that as soon as I said the thing, it came into my mind, and I instantly regretted it. But then, like an asshole, I had to come out and tell y'all why I instantly regretted it. This is my hell. This is purgatory. Augustine Pimentel saying, that's why I despise Dallas Cowboys fans. It's like talking to Jehovah's Witnesses. I guess that, like, my rebuttal with that is I as a Cowboys fan, I've never said that this is our year. I know that's a moniker that's always surrounded Dallas Cowboys fans. It's like, you're optimistic. You have hope in your team. Isn't that what we all should have? Right, like honestly, like I get, again, and I'm a super realistic person. I said this season I didn't think the Cowboys were going to make the playoffs. I said that on Fire and Ice back in August that I didn't think the Dallas Cowboys would make the playoffs. They lost too much in my mind. But is it so wrong to have optimism? Like in a world where we're surrounded by so much pessimism, Augustine, is it that bad to have a little bit of optimism to be like, you know what? There's this much hope. Just that much. And sometimes that much hope is all you need. That's all you need. We've seen games. Hell, your New England Patriots, whenever they were down to the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl in 2016, were you sitting there thinking to yourself, "Oh, this is done. This is done. Why am I even watching this? We're down 25 points in the third quarter. This game's over." No. And you were probably the same damn position as you say these Cowboys fans are, of saying, nah, Tom Brady's going to do something to help this team win. You were being optimistic about your team, probably to such an annoying extent that people were like, this effing guy, get him the hell out of here. We don't like him. That's how every fan base should be. Until the final nail is in the coffin, why not have just a little bit of hope? Just that little shimmer of hope. I'm not saying I think the Cowboys are going to do anything if they make the playoffs, but they are not mathematically eliminated. And until the moment they're mathematically eliminated, I cannot sit back and say, oh, this team can't do anything, because the possibility of them proving me wrong just to spite me is probably higher than what Michael Irvin was in the mid-90s coming off a Saturday night full of cocaine. Again, probably words I shouldn't have said. Jesus Christ. Can I get kicked off my own show? Is that a thing? Like, would I be able to, like, survive my own show? I'm doing it to myself. Like, I have no producers. I guess if I don't have producers, there's no checks and balances. I can be like, look, I've only done this for 10 years. Tommy Cadanzo saying, I have a little bit of hope for the number 1 overall pick. I think these last 2 wins, we can kiss the number 1 overall pick goodbye, my dude. It's done. These last 2 wins were done. Should have lost to the Giants. Should have had Drew Lock come in there and lose to the Giants in order to have anything for the Dallas Cowboys to just give me a glimmer of hope. Right now, I'm like, let's try to top 10 pick, maybe? Is there a scenario where we can, like, sneak into the playoffs and still get a top 10 pick? Is that a thing? It's probably not going to happen, but is that a thing? Is that something we could do? The AFC has much more better records than the NFC, so maybe we do get the top 10 pick and a wild card playoff game. We get they'll be on the road, so we don't have to worry about them winning at home. Oh, should I do it? Should I be the person that Augustine hates the most? If the Dallas Cowboys make it to the playoffs and they have to play all their games on the road, they don't have to worry about going home and winning a game where we know they can't win. They've got 5 wins this season, 4 on the road. They're a road team. If the Cowboys make the playoffs and they have to play all their games on the road, there is a scenario where the Dallas Cowboys could win this. Damn it, I almost got through that. Almost got through that. There was that close before I started laughing in the middle of it. Should I try it again? I'll try it again. Hold on. We will reset. I will take this comment off, so that way, what I'm going to do is try to aggregate myself. If you don't know how I utilize social media right now, I post things that just make people mad, or things about my friends over at happynuts.com/Mike Tipton. I just post things that make people mad, so I think I'm going to do this, okay? So I got to try to get myself in the right mindset here. Right? It's going to be like acting classes. Ooh, saw. I will go off of this. What I'm saying is that the Dallas Cowboys have 5 wins this season, 4 on the road. They are not a home team. This is a team that is built to win games on the road. So there is a scenario, slim as it may be, that if the Dallas Cowboys make the playoffs, they are the team that goes into another stadium and could potentially win their games. I will say it right now. If by some miracle the Dallas Cowboys make the playoffs and they have to play all of their games on the road, the Dallas Cowboys will not only win those road games, but they will find their way into the Super Bowl, and they will win the Super Bowl at a neutral site. I don't believe that at all, but we're going to post that out on social media, and I'm going to get yelled at and called an idiot. Probably a big fat guy. People on social media love calling me a fat guy. I am a fat guy. I love it. I eat steak. I drink a ton of beer. I had my blood work done the other day. I thought they were going to be like, Mr. Tipton, you're going to die in a week and a half. And they told me, yeah, cholesterol is actually pretty good. There's no diabetes. There's nothing wrong with you. So guess what, guys? I'm fat. I drink beer, and I'm a happy guy. Somebody was like, you're bald. No shit. Again, probably shouldn't have said that. Sorry, Roku. It is way too early for me to be on this. Augustine, you might have a point there. Whenever people were like, I like Tipton's show, but it's super early in the morning. How do I have this much energy at 8 o'clock in the morning? Same way Michael Irvin got through the 90s. That is not true. That is not true at all. Or maybe it's a little true. We'll see. All right, everybody. I want to thank you so much for tuning in this week. Roku, I apologize for everything I say and do. One of these days, I'm going to get kicked off of the Roku channel, and I'll have no one else to blame but myself. But I take accountability, unlike LeBron James and the LA Lakers, tying it back. That right there is what you call professionalism. We'll see you all tomorrow, guys. Yes, we're having a show on Friday. We'll see you tomorrow.